Last night, Dave, Brat, Abigail, Spanberger squaring off in what could be the only debate. We'll ask the congressman in a minute when he comes on. Culpepper at the Chamber of Commerce. And I have to tell you, unequivocally, I thought it was a resounding victory for Congressman Dave Brat over Spanberger in that debate. I had really no idea what Spanberger was doing other than trying to ride some wave into Congress by saying nothing. And either that or she doesn't have anything to say, but it was almost like, yeah, Dave, I'm kind of for that, but not 100% for that. I'm not really sure what. I really couldn't figure anything out other than I'm now absolutely convinced that she did work for the CIA after she said it 120 times. Joining us now, the debate champ from last evening, Congressman Dr. Dave Brat. He's a Republican that represents the 7th District of Virginia. He's running for a third term. On November 6th, and he debated his Democratic opponent, Abigail Spanberger, last night. Congressman, good to have you with us.
Hey, thanks for having me on, John. Thank you.
All the feedback from your debate, I understand, from the people I've talked to and some of the media, said that you had a very, very stellar performance last night. Congressman, what are some of the things that stood out for you in last night's debate?
Yeah, well, I just think the contrast between, proven results and resistance, and she's put up, 30-second TV ads where you can memorize a line and have, millions and millions of dollars pouring in from the resist movement and Nancy Pelosi PAC and all that. But when you see her on the stage for an hour trying to tie all those issues together, there's no coherent whole. And so we tried to show that. She's on the record, and people can go look it up. And I hope everybody goes and watches the debate, right? You're the voters. Go watch the debate. I want you to, because I think it was very stark. And so we just went through the issue by issue by issue. On the economics, the economy's booming. She had to say it's not booming. And so you got to make up your mind, right? $2,500 back in your pockets, and she wants to take that $2,500 and send it back up to D.C. On immigration, she's on the record in print saying that localities can handle the drug problem, the sanctuary city issue, right? That we don't need the feds.
Yes.
Well, that means you're not going to follow federal law. And so the governor is on the record for sanctuary cities in Virginia, and now she's on the record for sanctuary cities in Virginia. And it became very clear last night that that's the case. Mm-hmm. And then on health, and by the way, what that means to voters out there, right? We have 300 million lethal doses of fentanyl coming across the border last year.
Right.
Right, and opioids and heroin and human trafficking. And she's saying, let's give those gang members and those criminals sanctuary here in Virginia. I'm saying, no, arrest them and deport them. And so that it couldn't be more stark, right? And then on health care, she's on the record for single payer, which is the Bernie healthcare plan. It's $32 trillion, will double your taxes. The newspaper printed that story, and she's backed off of that. And so now she's saying I'm for Obamacare X, which is the first step to a government takeover of healthcare. And so it was just fascinating to watch her respond over and over and over, and just the general philosophy. When she was asked, what would you do to encourage business startups, her answer was all government programs. And I think that is kind of the split. It's do you want to get the economy moving that helps to fund the government programs we need, or do you think the government is the solution to everything, right? And so if you want to go backward to the government runs everything approach, that was the Obama years. And it's the past 30 years when we've had stagnant wage growth for 30 years. Too much federal government. And that basically was the debate. On every single issue, she wanted more government, and then she complained about the deficits, which I just find shocking coming from a Democrat. But she'll say and do anything in front of any audience, right, to get elected. And she's just got millions coming into this district to buy this election from outside left groups. So I hope everyone gets out and votes and spread the word to your friends. Go to DaveBrat.com because we cannot take and withstand those positions in this country.
Well, Congressman, let me highlight some of the things that you just said that I agree with and get a couple clarifications. Number one, I think you nailed it when you said that a lot of what Abigail Spanberger has done are 30-second sound bites on TV. And last night in a 90-minute debate, She really couldn't put together a coherent vision of what she is going to do. And that I thought that showed through in the debate. It was basically she has answers for things, but nothing really tied together. So I think that's probably the best assessment of the debate last night from her standpoint. I believe you nailed that one. I want to get to the debt. We've got a report now that the deficit has gone up. Remember when we did the tax cuts, the president and the economic advisors and his administration, and I concurred with this, was that eventually the increased revenues from the cutting of taxes, expanding jobs, getting more people paying into the system, getting more businesses to expand, getting more companies started, that was eventually going to pay for the tax cuts themselves, much like the Arthur Laffer tax cut curve back in the 1970s under Reagan and early 1980s, where he actually decreased taxes and revenues went up. Now, the debt went up because he was trying to outspend the Soviets at the time. So my question is, in the short term, debt's gone up. Do you see that coming down as the economy continues to expand?
Yeah. I mean, and that's the only way it will come down is with economic growth, right? And so that, again, she failed to offer any account of how the Democrats would generate economic growth. And they're anti-business. Her responses last night were all about evil corporations, one after the other, right? And so there's corporate overreach, and the bigs we have to fight to make sure the small business person is represented better up in D.C. But that's much different than being anti-business. Mm-hmm. And so revenues are up 4% this year, and Virginia's coffers are overflowing as well, but spending is up 8%. And as I said in debate last night, right, the tax cuts are $150 billion this year. Mm-hmm. And so if you grow at 4%, that's paid for.
Right.
But what's not paid for is to get the budget, we had to plus up spending $400 billion, not $150 billion for the tax cuts, $400 billion in spending, none of which is paid for, to get 9 Senate Democrat votes. And so it is confusing. The people think we have the House and the Senate and the White House. We do. But in the Senate, you need to get 60 votes for the budget. Mm-hmm. And to get those 9 votes, we plussed up the military, and that's it. Our budget with Paul Ryan last year, we did 12 approach bills. They were pretty good. Still spending way too much, but way better than what the Democrats have. And so for the Democrats to talk about debt and deficits, they're just living on another planet.
All right, I've got a couple of text questions here. One from Rob in Chesterfield who says, please ask the congressman, how do we pay for making internet available to everyone in rural areas?
Yeah, well, there are grants available. I brought the head of FCC down to the district the first year I was in, and we've got a grant in Orange County. They've got a super innovative solution that will be a model for the other counties. Louisa's building towers, but that is, right, it should be part of our infrastructure plan. The kids having to drive to McDonald's to be able to do their homework, that's not good. That right. Information flow these days, that is the technology of the future, and we have to get that done. And so we need an infrastructure package. The Democrats did a $1 trillion infrastructure package, you remember, back in the Obama years.
Right.
And no shovel-ready jobs, nothing happened.
Right.
And so that's not the way to go. I think under Trump, he gets construction, he gets on-time delivery, and I think we can do that and have a great product coming up in the next 2 years.
So when you say grants, are you talking about the state, federal government? I mean, who pays for the...
Yeah, federal. We got a federal grant for Orange County, and I'm working on the Fed scooped up the payment to Orange, and so I've been writing letters on their behalf over the past month to try and get them their check because they're already under construction for rural broadband. So it's good news.
All right, Stan from Richmond says, if you get reelected, how do the Republicans plan on reining in spending?
Yeah, well, that's the $1 million question. And, my opponent critiqued me last night, but it contradicted herself because I did vote against the budget because of the overspending. And so the way you rein in spending is send up representatives who represent you and who will not vote for budgets that are out of whack. And so I've been a strong advocate on that. I've voted. I've taken the tough votes. I get trouble with my leadership on that once in a while. But I ran on debts and deficits and economic growth together. And so I'm on the budget committee. I've fought hard on the spending side. but we need more reps who will hang in there with us. And we always get outmaneuvered by the Democrats at the end of the day, right? In order at the end, right up to Christmas, right when that budget gets produced,
right?
Everyone wants to blow out of Dodge, and I've been on the show, numerous times on how the process works, and it's almost intentional.
Congressman, you were outraised by Spanberger in this quarter, almost 3-1. Are you going to be able to be financially competitive here in the final 21 days?
Yeah, if you would have told me I'd raise $1 million in a quarter, I would have been amazed and happy as could be. And so we have plenty of money to get our message out, right? If she has $5 million, saying things that are not true and that don't appeal to voters, that can be overcome very easily. All you have to do is tell the truth and give a positive account of your results. And so we have plenty of money to give an accurate account of what people in the 7th District want. If we didn't have that money unfortunately, that is the problem, right? If you don't have the money to go up on TV, because the Democrats own the mainstream media as well, you won't get an accurate account of what happened in that debate last night from the mainstream media.
Right.
For example, right? Go out and scan, the papers, and then watch the debate yourself and see if the reporting in the Richmond Times-Dispatch or the Washington Post is what you saw on that video. And so it's tough being a Republican. But all the policy we win on, right? If people just voted on policy, we'd win, 90-10.
So both of us agree that you did very well last night in the debate. I thought you won the debate hands down, again, because I didn't think Spanberger put together a message that had any cohesion to it. So why not more debates? I mean, why are you capping this at a single debate? I don't understand that.
We didn't cap it. We had one fall through. I can't go into too much detail other than to say, a moderator was fired, and that upset the second debate plan. So we're working on that, and a reporter was fired for probably doing news stories in a balanced way, and so that's problematic. So we're working on the details, and we'll work through them. I haven't capped anything yet, and I did want to draw people's attention today to a Politico article. It's up on Politico right now. That frames the Nancy Pelosi liberal agenda as well as you can do, right? That's what I was talking about last night. Go look at that Politico article online, everybody. And that is the playbook for my opponent and every Democrat nationwide. And you can watch the debate and see her go issue by issue by issue. So all that money coming in, she's trying to run as a moderate and hide from her positions. The Democrat positions are all there. They're her positions on.
Right.
The same is on the website, is on our own website. And so it's fascinating to see the lineup of the Nancy Pelosi playbook and then my opponent's strategy. It's a 1-for-1 match.
All right, I've only got a minute because you have to go. So I got 2 quick questions with 30-second answers. So is my radio debate, which was debate number 3, is that still in play?
Yeah, everything's still in play. And I think I am late for my next interview, John.
All right, just one quick answer.
Yep, sure.
One thing you learned about Abigail Spanberger last night that you really liked. One thing.
Yeah, sure. Well, her dedication to the country, working at the CIA, and she's a mom in my neighborhood area that loves her kids and wants to serve the country, and that's a huge commitment. Anyone that's willing to follow that calling, I commend for their service.
All right, we're out of time. More information, DaveBrat.com. Congressman, thanks for being with us.